Hey guys, cool. Okay, so welcome. Those of you that will be watching this on YouTube, welcome. Thanks so much for joining us. This will be the first podcast on YouTube. I hope the audio is a little bit better. So yeah, just excuse if I pick my cell phone up or anything like that during the podcast. It's just to take a few photos of this magnificent view I want to share with you guys. And yeah, it's just to take a few photos of this magnificent view I want to share with you guys. And yeah, it's a picture perfect day, so I can't do it justice, but I'll try. So guys, basically yeah, on the final podcast I'm just gonna for 2019, obviously a lot planned for 2020, and I'm sure a lot of us do have a few New Year's resolutions and stuff. So yeah, I'm just gonna firstly reminisce a bit on 2019 and all the top moments that I've had then, and what's led me up to this point so far in my career. And I feel pretty blessed to be here and be able to share these memories with you guys, because I didn't expect it to go so well for the first year especially, but I'm pretty stoked that it's here and it's happening. So first things first, we got the podcast going. That was in Easter this year. I had my brother on it. The whole idea behind the podcasting was we sat around, we had a few beers and we were just discussing, and we were like, well, you know what, not many professional hunters are sharing their stories, and not too many guys coming over into South Africa know or understand the PH's backgrounds, and they underestimate the importance of a professional hunter in the hunting industry. So the whole idea was to start a podcast, to start a YouTube channel, my Instagram and everything, just to make people aware of us as PHs, what our daily routines and what we go through in preparation to make these safaris so successful. So that was the whole idea behind it. Little did I know it would get a little bit bigger than expected. But yeah, I'm happy where we are at the moment, and I'm really looking forward for the future. So yeah, our first podcast was my brother. The whole idea behind that was just to get a little bit of a background on myself and him, but yeah, mainly myself, to see where I came from and what led me to this point of becoming a professional hunter. And yeah, so that was the whole idea. It went off well, but like everything, it's got to start somewhere, and I'm hoping to progress from that first episode. But yeah, happy where we are now. So we launched a podcast in Easter. Yeah, and then the hunting season started. I remember the first hunt of this year. I hunted a gentleman, Mark, fantastic guy. Came over with huge expectations. Obviously, he did his homework. He knew he had to shoot far distances, and he knew the species he was hunting was inquired him to shoot at distance. But it's a lot different coming from the American side of things to South Africa, because once you put those different species or that different animal in front of you, in South Africa we call it buck fever. Yeah, so we went out. My fond memory of the whole hunt was obviously the kudu hunt that was well documented on my social media pages, but so we got out, and on his package is a kudu, and we bumped probably about 2 or 3 magnificent kudu bulls, and he just couldn't pull the shot off. Could see it, could get it in his sights. It just, like we said, buck fever got the best of him sometimes. I mean, there was a point where I had my foot against the shooting sticks. We were pretty well set up. They were on the ridge about 120 yards away from us, just pretty much grazing up the ridge. And all I felt, and I actually thought it was my dog next to me, and all I felt was slight vibrations, and it was him on the shooting stick. So yeah, unfortunately he missed. I think we missed a few opportunities on that, which is not a bad thing. I mean, a lot of guys, he was pretty bummed the whole safari, you know. So we saw these kudu in the first 2 or 3 days, but he was bummed the whole safari that he missed these opportunities. And one thing people must understand, that these opportunities do come around, and it's best to take them when they present themselves, and don't always get the mentality, oh no, I'll save this shot for one bigger later or whatever, because those chances never come around. But also on the other side of the coin is, when you do miss these opportunities, don't get disheartened, don't hang your head, don't feel embarrassed or anything like that. These things happen. I mean, my mountain reback this year, I missed about 3 or 4 times. So I know what's going through, and I know the process. The best is just to relax, reset, and do everything over again. Breathe, you know. Yeah, so I could see throughout the safari, especially missing these opportunities. We had 5 or 6 of them at this time, and he was getting disheartened, and it can mess around with your head a little bit, and it does. I've seen it. But yeah, come the final day, early morning, jump in the pickup, we head to the top of the ridge, still dark. Fortunately we get there in good timing, and eventually we see this old, extremely old kudu bull, probably one of the oldest ones I've ever shot, all by himself in a dried out riverbed. We spotted him on the top of the ridge, and he made his way down while we were walking towards him to get within that 250 to 300 range where I knew he was comfortable. So we did, and by that stage he had moved into the dry riverbed, and we were probably sitting at about 125 yards away from him, but up on the crans, so the angle came into play. Yeah, Mark pulled a fantastic shot, dropped him with one shot, dropped him on the spot, and you can imagine the excitement and everything they went through. We had a great safari other than the kudu. So the species we shot, I mean, he shot a monster springback, beautiful mountain reback. So yeah, the whole safari leading up to that point was just a stellar start to the season, and I'm pretty stoked to have done it. So yeah, so that was the first hunt in the bag. And then I started getting back into my training. I knew I was a little bit out of condition, especially going into the season. I always like to keep my fitness up, especially for those sort of hunts, because you know you're climbing the mountains and that. And as well, I knew later on in the year I would hunt my good friend Jared Habel from African Hunts. So I try to get into the best possible shape, because I knew we were going to do the whole Barbara sheep thing again like we did the previous year. And yeah, so I got into this whole thing, and the Ironman bug bit, watching it on TV. Obviously that was during the same period, and I decided that I was going to do the Ironman for rhino conservation. So I was going to try and raise funds for, if I completed the Ironman, and yeah, so that all got on the way, and it was going pretty well. I bought myself a decent bicycle, got training up to schedule, and got on with the online trainer. Obviously being in Queenstown, we never had all the resources possible, so you had to do as much as you can. I never like going into these big things without any preparation and the best knowledge possible. So that's what I did a lot of reading, did a lot of research, and the training was going wonderful. And yeah, then had the Habels then come along, and that was something very special. And I said this in one of my interviews, which you can hopefully shortly find on YouTube. But yeah, so the whole family came along, and I was pretty privileged to take this hunt. We had a lot of memorable moments. Big black wildebeest, magnificent Barbara sheep, but yeah, unfortunately we didn't get to do the hippo this year like we did last year. So yeah, the hippo story, I know I did a little bit of a blog on it, but people don't understand the level that hippo had put me at, and I realized there and then that I still had a lot to learn, and I had learned a lot, and my experience was right up. So I don't want to put too many feathers in my hat, but I couldn't have planned it any better. I couldn't have done much differently other than get a boat. I'm talking about the hippo now. So yeah, that was one of the most remarkable hunts I've ever been on, and I probably will ever be on. It's just something that will stick in the memory bank for a very, very long time. And so just to fill everyone in that hasn't followed the story, is last year we got a tag to go and hunt a big male hippo in the Fish River, which was it's on the coastline. It's the old Ciskei, as far as the South African geography is concerned. I think that's the right way to say it. But yeah, so it's the old Ciskei, magnificent river. There's a Fish River Reserve on it as well. So what happened is Fish River Reserve bought all these hippo. Like everyone knows, hippos don't stay in one place. They like to wander there all over the show. So they found recorded hippo sightings along the riverbanks, and unfortunately there was a little settlement probably about 10-15 k's down the river towards the river mouth, and there was a big old hippo bull causing a little bit of havoc in the village. They used to call it Kufa Kwamanzi, which means water death. So got hold of the locals, went down, met up with the chief there. Can't remember his name. I think I did post a few photos of him on social media. I just try to understand the whole logistics of the thing, and so pretty much there's a huge river that runs on the side of this village, and there was roads going down, but the roads were horrendous. I mean, my pickup struggled going down and coming back up. But so they had tractors there that they had patched together. Anyway, most of the stuff had done by hands and feet, walking the stuff up. And so pretty much what happened is they used to come down and harvest the maize, and there were pumpkins, there were butternut, there were a whole range of vegetables in these lands along the riverbeds, and obviously attracted the hippo. And the hippo would come out, obviously sunrise, sunset, the whole routine, bathe in the sun during the day on colder days. And anyway, so came towards the evening, and this little boy was helping his grandmother in the field. Stumbled across a bit of a noise in the high maize. So the maize is probably about shoulder height, and obviously being a little bit inquisitive, inspected where the noise was coming from, and before he could have any chance of getting away, the hippo obviously with one little bite, the boy lost his life. So in a sense that it was a big old male hippo that obviously was kicked out of the herd, couldn't keep up with the youngsters anymore. I mean, the first time we saw him, he had big white eyelashes around his eyes, and his pigments started fading in his face, and you could definitely see it was a bull at his prime. He had a big old head, big square head. Definitely at the top of the picking order as far as bulls wanting to harvest, or shoot, or whatever you want to call it. But so this hippo was doing this with the locals. Obviously it caused a bit of stir in the local village. They didn't want to go down and harvest without any equipment, and so the government put these tags out on tender, and obviously we were very fortunate to get one. Anyway, get the tender, pop down, and man, it's thick there. It is so thick. you're probably on your hands and knees crawling through shrub. You've got a rifle on your shoulder. You know, you're just taking all the precautionary measures because you're probably about 4 or 5 feet away from the bank, but yet you're in his territory. If he wants to come out there and bulldoze whatever's in his way, he's going to do it. So you're always on edge, your blood's racing, insects are in you. It was just one incredible experience. And you know, we were trying to spot from above, spot down on them. We would see the odd heads pop up every now and then, but nothing, you know, nothing to say, you know, nothing to give us a set plan and say, okay, they're going to pop their heads out at this point, we need to be there and pull off some shots. But so basically what we did after about 2 or 3 days chasing this bull up and down the river, because every time he would see us, he would just, you know, bounce under the water a few steps further than us. So yeah, that was pretty cool. And so as we kept moving down river, it kept bouncing, and it was just something completely different. So yeah, it's you know, he's obviously pushing with the tide, so the further he's moving down, the harder it is for us to get closer to him. So anyway, so we devised this plan. There were 2 or 3 spots upriver where our pickup couldn't get to, but we could get there on foot. So what I did is I put my 2 trackers in, Courtman and William, and then I had a local with me as well. They called him 2 feet, I don't know why, but anyway. So he came with me, and we set up right down where there was a bend in the river, and on that bend, before you got to the end of the bend, there was huge kranzes on our side, so we couldn't go any further with our feet. So we set up there, put Jared on the sticks, and gave him our tracker's radio. So we were always in communication, obviously silently, but we were always in communication. So they started driving down, and yes, we must have been sitting there for about 45 minutes at least. And 2 feet taps me on my leg, he says, listen, underneath there was like an overhanging tree. Underneath there's a big hippo. Now you could distinctly see him. Like I said, he lost a lot of pigment in his face. So yeah, it was, I mean, anyone would be able to size him up and spot him out. So set Jared up, and this is probably where I learned a lot in my hunting career, and I wish I did a little bit more research on it. I've always done a lot of skivvy hunts on hippo, so I knew where shot placement was, and I knew how it needed to look. But I panicked and I rushed, and I think this is where I could have learned, you know, from the whole situation. So basically what happened is the hippo backed. I don't know why, and I don't know at that point why he decided to back out of the tree in the shadow. And as he backed out, he just had the back of his head facing us. So and all I said to Jared was, you take the middle of the head about 2 inches down, and which he did, and the shot went off, and everything happened like I've always seen it happen. There was kicking around, there was thrashing, there was legs up in the air, and complete silence. So after a lot of debating and whether we should go into, now you must remember there's probably about between 150 hippo, 150 probably, maybe, in the whole river. So at that stage we had spotted a lot of females with little ones and two other bulls. But yeah, so the river was just riddled, and of course this bigger bull was with a little one. Not a little bull, but he obviously was kicked out as well. You couldn't keep up with it. So yeah, basically that's what happened. So we were trying to decide whether we should go in or not. No amount of dollars were going to bribe me to getting to that river. So we veered around, we went all the way around. It took us about an hour and a half to get onto the other side, so we had to go there via pickup. Once we got to the other side, 2 feet that was with me, we sort of negotiated which was public land, which was private land, because on the other side there is public land as well. So veered into the one open gate, was wide open, went all the way down to exactly where the spot was where we shot the hippo. And while we're busy progging around, there's this older gentleman that rocked up there with a handgun and a pack of dogs behind him, and his farm manager, and shouting, and he's going on. And eventually, after the whole situation calmed down, he knew who I was, I knew who he was, and got a little bit of a conversation going. He wasn't happy about the whole hippo hunting story, and the more we're trying to, prove our innocence, the more he's gunning at us. But anyway, we managed to calm the situation, and unfortunately, whether the hippo is still around or not, whether it washed up a few corners later, I don't know. We did manage to get a boat the next day, and just no sign of where any wounded hippo would be, or in the reeds or anything like that. So yeah, an experience that I'll hold close to my heart for a very, very long time. And I was very privileged to be on that hunt. Again, unfortunately, we came back empty-handed, but yeah, I'm just so blessed to have shared that moment with Jared, and it was something that will be in the memory bank for a very long time. So that's out of Jared's hunt throughout the year. Obviously spending time with his kids. That was something very close to me, because I enjoy kids and I enjoy hunting them. I was probably around about their age when I shot my first animal, so I can relate to a lot of the situations. Being calm on the sticks, not pushing people, is something that I think is very key in today. That's how you limit your mistakes. Touch wood. We had 100% recovery rate this year. So I was very happy with the whole hunt, how everything went. We just had a phenomenal time. There's so many, like I said, special moments with the kids. But other than that, we shot that ginormous Cape Graceback, which was something that I'll hold very high up there as far as my top 5 animals are concerned. Magnificent hunt on a Barbara sheep, and from white blessback to just to so many different species, we just shot good quality animals, and I'm very, very happy with that hunt, and it's definitely one for the memory book. Then then time went on, and it wasn't much longer that we waited, and a good friend Pat Dugan came out with his wife Basha, and the whole purpose of them coming out, this will be the 3rd time I hunted with Pat, 2nd time with Jared, but 3rd time with Pat this year. And the first time it was just him and his buddy Dan, and the 2nd time, which was also a very special hunt to me, was him and his father, and then this time was him, his 2 girls, his wife, and himself. So this was just another one of those hunts of Pat's that everything just fell into place. Whatever we went for that day stuck its head out, and the quality was exceptional. So I'm very happy with how everything turned out there. Again, also the special moments of sharing it with his family, their first animals, blooding them. It was just a magnificent safari all around, and got to share a special moment with him when he renewed his vows with Asha. So as far as PHing goes, there's not a lot I would have changed. I was very fortunate, and I was very blessed to have shared a lot of special moments with a lot of good people, and a lot of special people that mean a lot to me. So and then as far as just the all-round experiences that I had this year was just next level. And I'm so looking forward to 2020, because if 2020 is anything like 2019, I've got a good year coming up. But yeah, so Pat finished, and then I went into my yearly hunt that I do with our non-profitable organisation Roundtable. We went to a good friend of mine's, past friend of mine's, game farm, Careerdale in Ellawell North. It's just on the border of the Eastern Cape and the Free State, on the Orange River there. This place plays a very special part in my heart. It's where my good friend Richard van der Berg unfortunately lost his life a year and a half ago, due to a car accident. But I shot my water back there, I shot my mountain ree back there this year, so something that I hold very, very close to my heart, and I see a bright future for the place. So yeah, that went along there, obviously in the heart of winter, so it's piping cold, it's extremely cold, not like any temperatures they get up north there, but it is extremely cold. So yeah, I had a lot of fun, a lot of beverages were consumed, and a lot of special moments shared with a lot of special friends of mine. So yeah, so I was happy with how the whole thing panned out there. And then yeah, we went, I did a corporate hunt in a game farm just outside Queenstown, Maweni Game Reserve. Fantastic place, beautiful hunting conditions, magnificent animals, and yeah, we had a field group there, so that was something pretty cool to me. I met a lot of nice people, a lot of interesting guys, and that's always something I've always enjoyed about doing the corporate side of things, is that you can always you meet so many different people, so from so many different walks of life, and other business opportunities within South Africa, and how they see the future of our country going forward. And yeah, so that was pretty cool. A lot of good hunting. We had a lot of good hunting, a lot of good, experiences, and that's been my whole thing, especially about this year, and that's what I set my goal out to be. Excuse me. Right from the start was that I wanted to get as much as I possibly can out of my hunting, as far as experience and knowledge-wise as possible, because the next 2 years are going to be tough as far as the drought's concerned, number one. And number two, animal quality. Ethics are going to come into play. We'll see a lot of PHs, a lot of outfitters falling by the wayside by not being ethical. That's going to be a big part to play with in South Africa. So I just want to talk about that a little bit. So obviously South Africa is going through one of the worst droughts in the past 100 years, I guess. I heard somebody say that. I don't know why that figure's in my head, but anyway, it's extremely bad. It's the worst our generation's ever seen. So what's going to happen now is, this year was a little bit of a touch and go, because we were in it but we weren't quite in it, and now it's hit breaking point. So a lot of the bigger guys are going to stick around, a lot of the guys that are doing things ethically, selling experiences rather than just throwing lead at every moving thing possible. Trophy quality is going to play a big part. So the guys that have preserved their herds, looked after their numbers, shot quality, shot the oldest bull, done that sort of homework, I feel are going to be the ones that are going to see this whole drought out and come out on top. The guys that have chased the buck to make a quick penny here and there and done things a little bit unethically, shot poor quality animals, anything goes type thing, those are the guys that are going to see their asses a little bit, because at the end of the day, the American economy is only getting stronger, and you're going to have more guys coming out and wanting to spend more money, and not only on the hunting side of things, but as far as the experiences are concerned. And I think that's where the big differential part will come in, and the guys that are doing it the right way, the ethical way, will come out on top. And yeah, that's going to be a very important point coming into next year. So as far as PHing is concerned, again, I would only recommend to any young PH coming through the ranks now and looking to get into the market for next year, looking to associate himself with a good outfitter. Guys, just do things by the book. Learn from the older generation. I know sometimes it's difficult and you always think you know better, but I've been so fortunate in my career to do as many hunts as possible with the older guys, and I've learned so much from them, and that's been the biggest thing, is that I've always been a bit of a hard ass when it came to learning from my parents, or from my older folk inside my family, because you have a little bit of that attitude when you're growing up. But I've been very fortunate as far as the hunting side is to not be so stubborn and learn from the older guys, which I've been very blessed, and I probably wouldn't be sitting here right now if I hadn't had learned from them. So I'm very happy. So yeah, my advice is coming in, don't think you know better than anyone else. Don't think you're better than anyone else out there. Remember, you're dealing with other people's money, so every little experience, from showing a little dung beetle pushing the shit ball around the lodge, to caracal tracks, to whatever, sell them the whole experience, do the whole thing, because that at the end of the day makes who you are in the future. So that's something I'm going to start striving towards more. Is I think people just come over and throw a bit of lead, throw a bit of money, want the biggest trophy possible, but at the end of the day I feel that it's the experience that they're missing out on, and whether my clients going forward like it or not, that's what's going to be coming. And I think that's important. Share cultural differences within South Africa, take them down here to the beautiful Transkei, show them what these guys have been doing to get by in life, and how stress-free they live, and all that sort of stuff. So that's pretty much, if I had to give any advice based on this year, that's what it would be. And sell experience, sell yourself. There's nothing like a good PH promote. Like I said earlier in the podcast, I feel that the PHs are the most underrated assets on any outfitter's books that there is. And the reason why I say that is that these guys are trusted, or entrusted with a hell of a lot of money, often in their 20s, most often in their 20s, and they're meant to deliver on the fee that's being paid. And I don't think youngsters of today, especially in the PH world, understand what huge responsibility this is, and they need to start taking serious. And yeah, so again, that's pretty much what I'm going to do, is try and get my clients and my friends the best possible, or the most for their buck as possible. And the only way you're going to do that is sharing our beautiful landscape, our beautiful country, some amazing cultures, and yeah, I'm looking very, very forward to 2020. Yeah, so other than that, going forward into 2020, so I've made a big decision. I've shared this with my family thus far. So I watched the controversial documentary on the Game Changers. So my personal opinion on it is there's a lot of truth in it, there's a lot of good facts. But the thing that concerns me, obviously being a hunter, is the sustainability. I don't think if everyone moved more over to plant-based foods, that this world would be able to sustain the large numbers of crop we'll have to grow. I don't think we have enough land for that. And don't tell me that I must look at the industrial farming and all that sort of crap, because it's just boiling down to what you're trying to prove against, So yeah, so I've made a decision. I'm going to be cutting out a lot of the the dairy side of things, not because of any other reason other than my health. I think that plays a big part. The thing that got me was the blood vessels, how they clog up with cholesterol and all of that foam. And look, I'm not a scientist and I don't know too much about it, but it just makes a little bit of sense to me. So once I get to my desired weight, and then I'll reassess and see if it's actually worth going back onto dairy products or anything like that. But yeah, so The Game Changers for me was a fantastic documentary. The podcast with Joe Rogan, Chris Creasy, I think his name was, and James Wilkes, that was fantastic. A lot of good insights and a lot of stuff I didn't know. A lot of stuff I disagree with, but a lot of stuff I agree with. And yeah, I'll hopefully on this particular podcast I'll be having, there's a good friend of mine, and we'll chat a little bit about animal nutrition, what actually goes into these cattle. In South Africa I'll be talking about, can't speak abroad, but yeah, so hopefully this year I'll dive down into more of that sort of stuff. So yeah, and then of 2020 I want to do a lot more hunting for myself, hopefully, and I'll pray that I finally get my bush back. Will be my 12th year running straight that I haven't got one. It's not because I haven't had the opportunities, it's just because of number one, I've been a little bit picky, and number two, it's that buck fever thing that comes into play. I mean, my good friend Justin Stratton had me on sticks at about 80 yards on one, and I shook like a dithering idiot, and I just couldn't pull off the shot. So, you know, it's not like I haven't had the opportunities, and it's just it's one animal on my bucket list that I need to tick off. And man, have I got so much respect for that animal, and the clients that have hunted with me before, they'll know how much I love hunting that particular animal. And yeah, so that's on the agenda. And then obviously to grow, I would like to do a lot more podcasting, get my YouTube channel running. I bought some fantastic equipment for videoing my hunts, so hopefully I get to share that with you guys. But yeah, other than that, you know, 2020 as far as South Africa is concerned, I've got to stay positive. I've seen a lot of good things coming out, so definitely our president's doing the right things. A lot of people get frustrated because they want to see surface stuff, but I know behind closed doors a lot of the good stuff's happening. Don't be scared about the land claims. We'll cross that bridge if it comes up again. But I've got to be positive. I've got to stay positive, because this is home. This is where I want to be. I don't want to be anywhere else. And yeah, I'm so looking forward to 2020, because I've got such a good feeling about it that, you know, everything's going to turn around. Yeah, so other than that, guys, that was my little solo podcast to end off stellar 2019. It's New Year's Eve now, so I'm going to start sinking a few more beers and celebrating with my family. And I want to say thank you to everyone that's been a part of this journey. I can't believe it's got us to this point where we are now. This podcast will be on YouTube, PH Journals, the PH Journals, sorry. So yeah, pop around, subscribe, share, like. Just thank you so much for all the support. I can't tell you how much I appreciate it. I really didn't think I will be in this position only a year into this whole setup. So So as far as the Ironman thing's concerned, unfortunately I slipped a disc at the end of this year, so I've only started being back into training now. I'll get that going and I'll creep it up a bit. So for 2021 I'll get that up and running. As far as conservation stuff's concerned, keep a lookout. We're busy with some fitness socks. All proceeds will go to rhino conservation, rhino horn legalization. And yeah, I'm just really looking forward to 2020. So if you guys have got any recommendations as far as podcasting or some things I need to do on my social media, I'd highly appreciate it. Yeah, and obviously just keep them clean. I don't want to have any bad vibes as far as hunting and trying to beat off some tree eggers. But yeah, just thanks so much for everybody. Thanks for all the support. Cheers to 2020. Really looking forward to it, and yeah, we'll catch up with you guys soon. Have a good one, guys, and have a good New Year's. Cheers.